doors and windows. Shut off heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Seek shelter immediately.
Right now at noon, more details coming in about the shooting at Fort Hood and the victims. We are following the developing story. A suspicious device leads to evacuations of a neighborhood. Police still on the scene investigating. And a store clerk shot and killed during a robbery. Another man in the hospital. Friends react to the news.
Now, from the most watched station in Central Texas, this is KWTX News 10.
Good afternoon, I'm Taina and thank you for joining us today on KWTX News 10 at noon. We will have complete coverage of the shooting at Fort Hood in just a few moments. But first, we do have some breaking news out of Killeen. Police have evacuated an 8-block area after a pipe bomb was found earlier this morning. Our Matt Howerton is standing by live right now with the latest. Matt, what can you tell us?
Hey, Taina, pretty active scene right now behind me. As you can see, Killeen PD and Fort Hood EOD have evacuated neighborhoods between 2nd and 10th Street and Gunn and Harrison Street after an IED was found taped underneath a pickup truck this morning. Now, the call came in around 9 a.m. When police arrived on scene, they inspected the device and began evacuating people immediately. What we've been told about the IED is that it resembles a pipe bomb and has wires sticking out of it. We caught up with some of the neighbors who were evacuating the scene this morning, and they couldn't believe what was happening, especially not even 24 hours after the Fort Hood shooting.
Yeah, I just had the shooting last night. I'm right there on post too, so I had the shooting last night, and now it's a bomb today. I don't know what's going on.
Gotcha. Thank you. Residents being evacuated have been invited to stay at the Killeen Community Center until this pans out, which Killeen PD says might be a while. In Killeen, Matt Howerton, KWTX News 10.
Thank you very much, Matt. Now to our continuing coverage of the Fort Hood shooting. Many in Central Texas are still just trying to wrap their heads around this whole thing, like that woman just told us. We have crews in Killeen and Temple following this story. Let's go ahead and start outside of Baylor Scott and White Hospital, where a press conference was held about an hour and a half ago. Nick Delgado is there. Nick, what did doctors say about the victims?
Well, Taina, we're definitely still learning a lot more information as this situation unfolds as it regards to the investigation. But here at Scott and White and Temple, a lot of the staff are still, like you said, wrapping their head around the incident. A lot of them were actually here during the 2009 incident and are just in shock with the events that have transpired since. Here's the latest information that the doctors released. We have 9 patients here at the Temple Hospital, which include 8 men, 1 woman, all soldiers between the ages of 21 and 40. Now, this morning, doctors briefed the media that 3 people are still in critical condition, 5 in fair condition, and 1 other in good condition. Now, these soldiers suffered various injuries from the shooting, some to the neck, spine, and abdominal area. Doctors say 2 of the critical patients will need surgery. Now, the hospital has since notified all victims' family members, and we were told some of those recovering could potentially be released today. Some good news, all 9 are expected to make a full recovery. Now, though they are recovering from the physical wounds, doctors here tell us there's a tremendous amount of work to be done to help them overcome their emotional and psychological scars. From Temple, Nick Delgado, KWTX News 10.
Thank you, Nick. We'll continue to check in with you throughout the day. As the sirens went off, Yvonne Lopez was still firing. Here's a recreated animation of this scene. Lopez left the first building, got into a car, still shooting. He then went to a second building and fired again. You can see right there, military police chased him to a parking lot where a female officer then approached him, and that's when he pulled out the gun and shot himself. So this is obviously just a scene that's going to continue unfolding, and our continuing coverage continues right now. Rachel Cox has been at Fort Hood since it started yesterday afternoon. She remains at the main gate. Rachel, what can you tell us?
Open fire inside the Soldier Readiness Center.
Hi, Taina. Here on post at Fort Hood, things are getting back to normal as much as they possibly can after a shooting incident like this. You can see just behind me, traffic is actually moving in and out of this main gate The lockdown that happened yesterday prevented this from happening for a couple of hours. That was lifted last night. Also here at the main gate, you can see just behind me all of the media and the reporters that are awaiting a press conference that should happen at around 3 o'clock today with the latest details about the shooting. Now also, you can look just behind me at the sign here at the main gate. People have actually started to leave roses, what looks like to be a dozen roses somebody left, obviously for the people who lost their lives yesterday and those who were also injured during the attack. Now we're also learning a little bit more about 34-year-old Ivan Lopez. He recently moved to an apartment close to Post, off of Post, and we just got word that the Army chaplain has arrived to talk to his wife. It was reported that he has a 3-year-old daughter, and while he was being treated for mental illness, he had not yet been diagnosed with PTSD.
He was undergoing a variety of treatment and diagnoses for mental health conditions ranging from depression to anxiety to some sleep disturbance. He was prescribed a number of drugs to address those. He was seen just last month by a psychiatrist. He was fully examined, and as of this morning, we had no indication on the record of that examination that there was any sign of likely violence, either to himself or to others, no suicidal ideation.
Now, we will be getting the latest update, hopefully around 3 o'clock from Fort Hood officials, and we will bring you those details as soon as they become available. Now, the big unknown in this entire shooting incident is the actual motive. Now, yesterday during a press conference, Fort Hood's commanding general, Lieutenant General Mark Milley, said that at this point there's no reason to believe that this was related to terrorism, but he said they are not ruling that possibility out. Reporting live from Fort Hood, I'm Rachel Cox, KWTX News 10.
Thanks, Rachel. And there's a lot of questions still to be answered. We learn more about this shooting every moment, but a lot of people are now wondering, who is Ivan Lopez? John Carroll has been looking into his background here in the News 10 studios. What have you learned so far, John?
Well, Taina, it's already known that Lopez had been deployed one 4-month stint in Iraq while he was being treated for psychological trauma as well, like you just heard. He had not yet been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. But digging deeper today, we have learned some alarming news that could have played a role in this tragedy. Lopez is from Guayanilla, Puerto Rico, a small town of 24,000. His family was well known, and his mother, a nurse at the hospital, had just died 2 months ago of a heart attack. Lopez was granted a 48-hour leave to attend the funeral, but was not on the ground there for very long. Since then, he lost a grandfather. The mayor of the town, Edgardo Arlequin, taught Lopez for 7 years and says he was a good boy. I talked with mayor spokesman Evelio Broco in the last hour, and he said everyone is in shock down there.
Ivan was a member of a very highly appreciated family here in Guayanilla. All the municipality, Guayanilla, all the family, and the mayor especially is very concerned about this event. We don't have any explanation. We don't have any words to the people who suffered this event in Texas.
So even in his hometown and home country, they are surprised. Lopez had an ex-wife and 2 children living in Puerto Rico, and he leaves behind a wife and 3-year-old daughter here in Central Texas. We continue looking into more about what triggered this tragic event and about the shooter. Live in the newsroom, John Carroll, KWTX News 10.
Thank you very much, John. And if you know someone or related to any of the victims, we want to say you can call the Family Assistance Center hotline. Their number right now is on your screen. They have 2 numbers right there. Counseling centers are also open. This is a lot of things people are talking about right now. Some things, from 5 years ago, the original Fort Hood shooting, now this is all bringing up a lot of memories. So those places are located at the Spirit of Fort Hood Chapel. That's on Tank Destroyer and 31st. There are also counselors at the Killeen Community Center at 2201 East Veterans Memorial Boulevard and at Scott and White Hospital. Remember, if you need immediate assistance, if you need to speak to someone, you can call the number on your screen. That is 254-287-CHAP. And we have a new statement this morning from Congressman John Carter. He says, quote, "My thoughts and prayers are with the victims at Fort Hood and their families. The idea that a second attack could happen at Fort Hood is heartbreaking. We need to rally around the community and provide the safety and security these people deserve, end quote. And this is just the beginning of the story. You can find the latest information 24 hours a day on KWTX.com, also on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Still ahead today, an appeal over a stay of execution. A judge orders a lethal drug supplier to be made public. And a chain reaction crash, 6 cars involved, 1 man in jail.